Hello, in this video tutorial we will learn how to do linear optimization, and we will use the Simplex method invented by George Danzig to solve a business situation. Let's say you are a car manufacturer and you are interested in maximizing your profits, and you want to know what car models to build so that you can maximize your profits. And let's say you only can build two types of cars, Model 3 and Model 5. And Model 3 generates $20,000 profits and Model 5 generates $40,000 in profits. To build Model 3, you need one car seat, one glass sheet, and one battery pack. And to build a Model 5, you need two car seats, six glass sheets, and one battery pack. And you know you have some sort of a constraint. So in real life, you'll always have some sort of a constraint. The constraint here is that there's only 16 car seats available and 36 glass panels available, glass sheets available, and you have 14 battery packs available. Yeah. So with the constraints you have some sort of a constraints, you have some sort of a contribution that you're interested in, the business objective, maximize profits. And so when you're given something like this, you want to know what should you build, how many of Model 3 and Model 5 you should build. So how do you go about this? We can use a linear optimization method for building this. So let's do this. In any of these problems that we want to solve, what we want is some way to systematically have a structure to solve this. So the first thing is to always understand the business situation fully and make sure that all of the requirements are captured. In this case, you might have a page or 2 pages of information, and you might have to boil it down to this key pieces of information. So the first is really deeply understand the business situation. If you don't understand the business situation, then you will solve for something, the algorithm will do the work, but it'll be wrong. So you really want to focus on understanding deeply the entire business situation, and it has to be an accurate understanding, and that you've written down the key points. So let's say these are the 4 points that I wrote down. You might have 15 points. You might have multiple other constraints, but it'll have a very similar structure for you to attack a problem that has a clear solution. Yeah. So what we do first is we find out from the business situation, what is the known certain things, certain variables that are going to impact my profits, but these are known and certain. So we first write them down and we realize, hey, profits per car model is fixed. I know that if I build Model 3, that I will be able to build $20,000 and get $20,000 of profits. And if I build a Model 5, that for each Model 5, I'll be able to generate $40,000 in profits. Yeah. That's known, it's given to us, and it's right there in the business situation. Yeah. We are also given some sort of clarity in terms of how much we would need to build each of these Model 3. We are told that, hey, you would need a certain number of car seats, glass sheets that you would need, and battery packs. Yeah. So these are also known items. So we are told that for Model 3, you would need one car seat, and for Model 5 you would need 2 car seats, glass sheets, 1 for Model 3 and 6 for Model 5, battery packs, they both use 1. This is known and given. So we start off with like really capturing everything that's known and given, and then we would color code it so that we know we have the certain variables together. I would color code this as blue. Yeah. So I'm going to show how to do that. I'm going to color code in this situation blue. Yeah. So then I check, did I capture everything that was known, or did I miss something? Because if I miss something, then that's a problem. Yeah. So in this case, we've captured everything that we know. Then the next step is to find out and ask yourself, okay, what are all the things that I know? And then the question is, what is the decision I need to make? Yeah. Because there'll be certain number of decisions. In this case, think and pause. What are the decisions you're trying to make? And why are you trying to make this decision? So what decision we're trying to make is how many of these Model 3s to build and how many of Model 5s to build. Yeah, the decision variable is quantity of each model to build. Yeah, so maybe for Model 3 I would build X, and for Model Y I would build Model 5 I would build Y. Yeah, so these are my two variables, and what I do is I typically mark these as green. So I have clearly highlighted this is the known area, this is the decision that I need to make. And for me to first check that my mathematical model that I'm trying to build in Excel is fine, I know these are my decision variables, but I'm going to use some simple quantity to check that everything that I write is working. So let's assume I'll build one of Model 3 and one of Model 5. Now you've written down two major components of a linear optimization problem. What is known, and second, what are the decisions that you're trying to make? But remember, you will always have constraints. You ask yourself, do I have infinite ways of building things? And you quickly realize, no, I have some resource constraints. So you write down, what are your resource constraints? What are the limitations that you have? And you realize, oh, you have resource constraints for car seats, you have resource constraint for glass sheets, and you have resource constraints for battery packs. Yeah. So what you do is you say, hey, what are my constraints? And you're given those limitations. You're given that you only have 16 car seats. You're given that you have only 36 glass sheets, and that you have 14 battery packs. So these are your limitations. So you write down all of your limits that you need to adhere to and mark them, yellow. These are my constraints. And what you do is you would use up some of these items to build some of these cars. And why are we doing this? We're trying to optimize profits. So that's the last part. It's like, what is our objective of this entire algorithm that we're trying to build? What is our goal? Yeah, and the goal is, in this case, is to maximize profits. Yeah. So if I were to maximize this cell, and I would mark this gray, what would be the profit formula? It would be the quantities that I build times profit for each of these. So it's a sum product of quantity times profit. So I'm going to just write what that equation is. So I'm going to start now making this Excel dynamic, after I've written down the known items, the decisions that I need to make, the limitations that I have. Now let's start to make Excel dynamic, and we'll start using formulas, and we say, hey, profit is the sum product of the quantity times, so comma, all of the profits given per each of these units. So if I were to build one of Model 3 and one of Model 5, I would make $60,000 profit. So that's why I use this one number, so that I can actually check whether my math is working, that I'm not making any differences that are unknown, that there are mistakes that are unknown, sorry. So now we have written down that, hey, this is what I'm trying to maximize. And let's also write down what is it that we have used from our resources and check that whether we are under this constraint. Can we actually build for these two car models with the constraints that we have? So how many car seats have we ended up using if we were to build each of these two models? Well, again, that's the quantity of each of these items times what each of these items need. So I'm going to write the same setup. I'm going to say this is the sum product of quantity times how many each of these quantities need. Similarly, this would be the sum product of quantity times this one. Sum product quantity times battery packs. So what I need to check is that I cannot use more than what I have. So let me check if there is some slack, and the slack cannot be negative. Yeah, that's the key. If we have some excess capacity than what we've used, that's great. But if there's any amount of positive slack, that's a good thing, right? For this situation, to check that we are under the limits. But it could very well be that we couldn't even build this one. So then we would want to make sure that we track how many we have used and what is the slack that we have. Now we have translated this entire business context into this mathematical model. So now let's tell Excel to find out, like, hey, what is the right value for how many decisions, what is the right value for each of these decision variables, how many of these Model 3s I should build. and considering all of these constraints, and I want to maximize the profits. So let's do that. So for that, if you want to tell Excel that, hey, this is the decision I want you to make, we first select the decision variables, we go to Analytic Solver, and then we go to decisions. Notice this entire thing is empty at this point, yeah? And you will quickly realize what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my decision cell, I'm going to click this arrow here, and I'm going to mark this as a normal decision variable. And if I open up optimization, I quickly realize, oh, now it starts to track it. It knows what it can change, what decisions it can change. And those are these two cells in this variables, yeah? And I also now need to tell it that, hey, these are my constraints. I cannot use more car seats than what I have available. So I'm going to select what I'm using. I'm going to go to constraints. I'm going to say this should be less than or equal to constraint. And I'm going to then select. And so notice it has already populated C16, C18 because that's what I selected. And then I'm going to tell it that the constraints are, it should be less than, column C should be less than column B. So it populated that, and then I hit OK. So now notice it has also added here as constraints. So I've told it what the decision is, what it should respect in terms of constraint, and now you tell it the final piece. If you notice here, we are all working in this optimization model area. We told it what the decision is. We told it what the constraints are. And now let's tell it that, hey, I want you to maximize this profits. So I select my profit cell, and then I go to maximize profits. Yeah. And so now notice it has also added here that it needs to maximize my profits. And now let's tell it that, hey, I want you to use an algorithm to actually solve for these constraints. And we're going to use the standard linear programming quadratic engine that uses the Simplex method. So we can say, hey, use this algorithm. So you go to Engine tab, which is the third in the solver options, and you specify standard LP quadratic engine. And remember, the most important part, this should be non-negative. So one way is you could select these decision variables and then give it constraints. But you can also do it very quickly using assume non-negative, which is by default false, and you can say this is true. I want assume non-negative to be true. Yeah. So now you've given it non-negativity constraints, you've given it the algorithm, you are all set. So now what we'll do is we'll say, hey, now optimize and solve this entire problem and give me the solution. And notice that this green cells will change. What Excel will do is when you click this solve complete problem, it will use various values of these quantities. And then it will check that, hey, each of these quantities that it's using is under the constraints and that it's maximizing your profits. And it'll use the value that has the maximum profits. So notice how this cell is changing. It'll do it very quickly. So I'm going to say optimize and give me the solution. Yeah, so optimize, solve complete problem, and you quickly realize, oh, it's telling you should build for 12 Model 3s and 2 Model 5s, and you get $320,000 of profit. There you go. Yeah. So you would see that the output cell here will clearly say that its solver has found a solution. It tells you that it executed. So now you got an answer. You might wonder, is there another answer? And very quickly you realize that if you solve this graphically, that you will see various points of each quantity of Model 3 and Model 5. There are multiple answers here. So let's say if you want to find a quantity of Model 3 that's not 12 or slightly less than 12, and you still can maximize profits, is there an alternate solution? So what you could do is you could say, hey, you select this decision variable, and then you specify that, hey, I have a constraint on this one too. I'm going to say, one way is to say, hey, I'm going to select this, and I'm going to say this decision variable should be, let's say, less than 12. So I'm going to say less than or equal to 11. Let's say, yeah. Let's see if I can get a different solution with this new constraint and still get the same profits. So I'm going to try out a different value just to check. Add this artificial constraint saying, hey, I don't want it to be 12, so less than 12, or less than or equal to 11. And I hit OK. And you see quickly here, it would have added this one new constraint, a bound constraint saying, hey, I want this to be less than or equal to 11. Yeah. And then I could say, solve this problem again. Look, it gave me the same profits with the different combinations of Model 3 and Model 5. So now I just found an alternate solution. So there are various solutions available. And I'll link a video which also someone else has created that video, which gives you a graphical solution of this entire thing. And what they have done there is they have actually shown how to do this graphically. So you can look at that as well. It's in the link in the video of this, in the description of this video, you'll find that. But hopefully you found out how to model a linear optimization problem. The most important thing is to state the business context as clearly as possible, understand it, translate it into a mathematical model, into Excel, have a very clear structure saying, hey, what is all the things that I know? What are the decisions I need to make? What are the constraints I need to respect? And what is my goal? Once you do that, you translated it and you've specified what engine to use, linear programming, and you're saying, hey, non-negativity constraints. And you can also find out various other solutions and see if the profits is the same. Yeah. All right. Hope that was useful. Thanks.